Hey guys, and welcome back to another video about our very favorite topic, decluttering. Before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed to my channel. It has been so fun the last few months just watching this channel grow, and I'm starting to recognize more and more of your names in the comments. Those of you who watch every single one of my video and always leave a comment, I am so grateful, and those do not go unnoticed. So thank you so much. If you are brand new here, my name is Tori and I love creating videos about decluttering, minimalism, and living a simple lifestyle. And I post videos every single Thursday and Sunday. And if you guys ever have a video request for me, I would love to hear it. I'm always looking for new ideas and would be stoked to film videos about anything that you guys would like to see. So in today's video, we are going to talk about what to do when you are in a decluttering rut. And before I get started, I just want to mention that I do not believe in decluttering just for the sake of it. It is not a competition. I don't believe that you have to have a certain amount of things in your home to call yourself a minimalist or to be happy or satisfied. If you feel like you love all of the items in your home, that's totally fine. You don't have to declutter anymore. This video is specifically for people who have already decluttered a lot of things or have already started the minimalist process, but they're in a rut. You're stuck. You don't really know what to do next. So if that's you, if you feel like you're in a decluttering rut, this video is for you. And this is very much a common problem that so many people face in the decluttering process. You've kind of done a full purge of your whole house, you've decluttered every room, every closet, but you don't feel like your house is where you want it to be. It still feels cluttered, it still feels like you have extra things that you don't want. So my very first tip if you're in a decluttering rut is to look at decluttering lists, either on Pinterest or on YouTube. There are tons of lists on Pinterest, there are tons of videos on YouTube about things to declutter. I actually have two different videos that are just simply lists of things to declutter. They're my most popular videos ever. You guys seem to love that topic, so be sure to check those out if you're in a decluttering rut and you haven't watched them yet. If you've already watched my videos, of course you can also go ahead and watch other people's videos about that, or go on Pinterest. There are so many lists, and just by reading through those you might be inspired. You might see something listed that you've never even thought to declutter before. I know I've been inspired by those lists so many times, which is really even the reason why I made my own versions of those lists. Okay, if you're in a decluttering rut, or maybe you're having a hard time getting rid of things, ask yourself, is this something that I would purchase if I was out shopping right now? And I know that this is not going to work in every situation. Maybe your couch is not the couch that you would purchase if you were out couch shopping with $1,500, $2,000 right now. I get that you can't just get rid of your couch and get a new couch, but I think with smaller things, with non-necessities, with things like clothing or makeup or hobby things, if that item isn't something that you would purchase in the store right now, if it's not something that would catch your eye, then you don't need to hold on to it. Another question I like to ask myself is, what is creating visual clutter for me right now? I remember at one point sitting down on my couch and just having to intentionally look around at the different spaces, at the walls, and think about which items just felt like too much for me. And I think a lot of times we get used to the things in our home, especially artwork on the wall. I think we're just used to seeing it there and we think we like it and it's not causing clutter. But sometimes if you really take a step back and ask yourself, what is causing visual clutter? It might not be physical clutter, like things on a surface that are cluttery, but it might just be kind of too much and your home needs some more white space. It is absolutely okay to have empty space on your walls, or surfaces, a dresser, or counter space that just have nothing on them. You don't have to fill every little space. I think sometimes we think that every single wall needs to have a photo or something on it, and that's not true. Personally, I find that I actually enjoy my artwork more when there is white space or empty space that complements it. Okay, my next decluttering tip is to remove an item without the pressure to get rid of it. So maybe it's an extra piece of furniture, or maybe it's a piece of artwork, and it just feels like too much in that space, but it's not something that you want to fully get rid of, or you're not sure if you're ready to fully get rid of it. That's okay. Just take a few items off of your wall if you feel like there's too much artwork hanging up. You do not have to donate those things right away. You don't even have to donate them at all. Maybe you just need to put them away and think about it for like a couple weeks, or maybe they need to find a new home. And that leads me right into the next tip, which is to have a pile of things that you're kind of unsure about. And this is separate from your actual donation pile. I don't recommend all of the things you're decluttering going into a pile where you're unsure about it and then you're getting stuff back out of the pile. But I think every once in a while we come across an item that's extra hard to donate for one reason or another. So put it aside, have a pile or a corner of a room where it's kind of your in-between pile and you're not quite committed to getting rid of it, but it needs to be out of your immediate living space. And then in a situation like that, give yourself an amount of time. So don't just put it there indefinitely. Don't put it in a corner of your basement where you're going to forget about it. Put it somewhere where you're going to see it again. Give yourself a timeline, so maybe 1 week or maybe a month, however long you think is an appropriate amount of time for you, and then commit to that timeline. So then once that's up, go back to that item and really ask yourself, did I miss this? Is this something that I want, or do I feel like I'm ready to actually declutter and donate it? Okay, and then I always keep a donation box or a donation bag or some sort of donation pile that's always ready to go to a thrift store. So it's usually just an extra cardboard box that I maybe got with my groceries, or just an extra bag of some sort sitting by my front hall, and it's just something that I can put things in when I come across them. So maybe I'm getting dressed one day and I try on a t-shirt and I realize that I actually don't like this t-shirt, it doesn't fit anymore, and maybe it shrunk in the wash. Or actually the other day I was cooking and I had this nonstick frying pan that I have not used in probably a year, but I only have one other frying pan, which I think I mentioned that in my kitchen essentials video, that I only have one frying pan, and that's because I finally got rid of my other frying pan that I never used. But for a while I was kind of unsure about if I was ready to get rid of that, but then one day I just decided that's it, I don't need this anymore, and I just immediately brought that to my donation pile. Instead of waiting for a time when I'm going to do a big purge of my house, which I don't really do as much as I used to, I was just able to donate it when I thought of it, when I kind of had that motivation to do so, and there was already a pile waiting for it. And then of course, when you keep a donation pile like that, you want to make sure that you're regularly getting rid of it. So don't hold on to those things for like 6 months. Maybe once a week or once every couple weeks, try to go to the local thrift store or wherever you choose to bring donated items. And if you do need some ideas on where to bring donated items, I have a whole video about how to responsibly declutter your items. My next tip when you're in a decluttering rut is to remind yourself that somebody else can actually use this item and love this item more than you can. So maybe you have something in your home, and let's go back to your closet. Maybe you have a dress and you're like, this is a really nice dress, but I just never wear it. But I don't want to get rid of it because it's really nice. In a situation like that, I like to remind myself that someone else will have an occasion to wear this dress. Someone else will enjoy this dress so much more than I will, and it won't have to just hang in a closet and never be worn. I like to think of it as that item is getting a whole second life with another person, and it will be loved and appreciated so much more in their home than it was in my home. Okay, and then sometimes when you're in a decluttering rut, you just need to take a break. Maybe you've been decluttering your house like a madman for months and months and going like crazy. Every weekend you have big projects on the go, and now you feel like you're in a decluttering rut. Maybe it's time to just take a break and let yourself live in the space that you've decluttered. And I think by giving yourself that break and just allowing yourself to live in that, you'll eventually figure out what you need to declutter. And I think this is something you need to do intentionally. I don't mean get lazy and stop doing it, but I think just taking an intentional break to think about it can be really beneficial. And then along with taking a break, I think is just celebrating your successes. So again, if you spent months and months decluttering your home and you've worked so hard, take some time to appreciate that. Take some time to enjoy all of your hard work and really just celebrate how far you've come. I know I can be a perfectionist in areas like this. I always see room for improvement, which I think can be a really good personality trait. I'm always striving for better, but sometimes that can be tricky because I don't let myself fully appreciate where I am right now and really celebrate those successes. So I think that if you take some time to celebrate your success, maybe you have photos of your house before you decluttered and you can go back and look at those. I think just that in itself can be really motivating and can really inspire you to keep going because you remember why you started. Okay, sometimes I think we get in a decluttering rut because decluttering can be so much work. If you've watched any of my decluttering videos, you know that I believe in like taking a closet fully apart, taking everything out, removing it, cleaning down the closet or the drawer or whatever you're decluttering. And that process can make a really big mess. And I think that the mess is just part of the process. To me, it's okay, it's fine. But once in a while, you just don't have time for the huge mess and the huge process. So I think in times like that, just take that chance to do a little decluttering project. So if you're discouraged because you don't feel like you have the energy to declutter your entire closet in a weekend, maybe just focus on decluttering your shoes, and all you're gonna get done this weekend is decluttering your shoes. Or instead of decluttering your entire living room, maybe just take an hour or 20 minutes to go through your junk drawer and declutter that. And just focus on those little projects, because if you do enough of the little projects, they really add up and they make for a really big difference. And then I think one of the hardest things to let go of when you're decluttering, which can very much cause you to get into a decluttering rut, is the idea that you're wasting your money by getting rid of things that you spent money on. And this can be a really hard pill to swallow if you have things that you've spent a lot of money on. But the reality is that you actually wasted the money when you bought the item. You're not wasting your money when you get rid of it. The money was already spent. Whether or not you keep that item, you're not going to get the money back. In fact, if it's something that's worth money, you might actually be able to sell it and get part of your money back in the process of decluttering it. But keeping an item around that you don't actually enjoy, or an item that you don't actually use, doesn't make the process worth it. I think that it actually makes it worse. Personally, if there's something that I see all the time that I know I spent a lot of money on and I kind of regret spending that money, if I see that item every single day, I feel guilt every single time I see it. So in situations like that, when I feel guilty because of the money spent, it actually makes me feel so much better to get that item out of my house, either selling it or giving it away to someone, because then I don't have to see it and feel that guilt all the time. And I don't think that we have to look at this as a mistake that we made, that we didn't know how to spend our money properly. Honestly, I think that that's just part of life, is that we have to figure out our style and the things we love and the things we use and just what fits into our lifestyle. And I think that those things change over time. And I think sometimes we just have to kind of make those mistakes in order to learn. So you might have to buy a couple pairs of jeans that you don't really like how they fit in order to learn what you really do like. And of course, ideally we'd all like to just learn what we do like without having to make those mistakes, but sometimes the mistakes are just part of life, and I think that that's okay. I think just really try to focus on what decluttering is teaching you, and pay attention to the items that you're always decluttering. If you keep decluttering maybe bright colored t-shirts, but then you keep buying bright colored t-shirts, pay attention to that and just see what lessons there are to be learned there and what things you need to stop buying. So I hope that these tips were helpful if you feel like you are in a decluttering rut. We've all been there before. I'm pretty sure everybody who is pursuing a minimalist lifestyle has been in a rut at some point. So I hope that these tips helped you guys. And if you haven't already done so, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future decluttering videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again in a few days.